2.5 years ago, I was travel nursing. I was making really good money, but I was so burnt out and I wasn't living the life I wanted to live. I wanted to live a life full of joy, living by my priorities, like living close to nature, spending quality time with my loved ones, and running a business of my own that wasn't location dependent. So my theory was simple. If I didn't have huge expenses like car loans and a mortgage, I didn't have to make as much money. That's where this came in. This was my budget plan, $2,218 a month. And it looked perfect on paper. But here's the truth. For 2.5 years, I was terrified to look at the real numbers. I was living in denial. Why? Because I was so afraid I would have to go back to nursing. I was so afraid I would have to give up this life of freedom that I loved. So I just didn't look. And let me tell you, denial is not a good solution for anything. But I realized something, that I can't help you if I'm running away from the numbers, if I'm not honest with myself, because I do want to help people who are interested in this lifestyle. I think it's awesome. It's not for everybody, but I love it. So making this video is the push that I need to get serious about my finances, and then also give you guys honest, real information. Another confession I need to make to you guys is 2.5 years ago, I did leave travel nursing and I started this YouTube channel like the same month. And I thought, okay, I'll just try it for a year, just do YouTube, live off of savings, and see if I can make a business out of it. But the truth is, I haven't gotten there yet. And I'm still using money from savings to fund my lifestyle. Now, is that sustainable? No. Do I need to make more money? Yes. Every time I pay a bill, there's an anxiety. Am I being irresponsible? Am I going to go broke? Am I going to be 70 and have to live off of Social Security? But then there's another voice too, the one that says, what if I can do this? What if I can live my dream, make enough money to sustain my lifestyle and help other people along the way? So which voice is right? Am I brave for following my joy, or am I reckless for ignoring my budget? So let's look at what I've been spending for the last 6 months. So first, I'm going to start with my fixed costs. And this is the predictable stuff. Insurance with USAA. My budgeted amount is $124, and in actuality I spent $123.79. So with that, I am on budget. I do have that driving app that at first I did not want to download the driving app, but gradually my truck insurance is going down. Like next month, it's only $110. So they actually are rewarding me for my good driving. So the next fixed cost is camper insurance. And I budgeted $47.51. And I actually paid $47.51. I bought a new camper in August 2025. And my insurance did go up slightly, so I kind of averaged the two out. Now, camper insurance, I think, is really important if you're full-time, because there's a lot of liability coverage that you're not going to get if you just use your auto insurance. Because my truck insurance does cover the camper while I'm driving down the road, but if I'm in a campsite and something happens, I'm not covered with just the truck insurance. But the camper insurance covers you more like a homeowner's policy, and it covers all my belongings inside. So the next fixed cost is phone and internet. This is more expensive than when I was in a house. I have Google Fi, and I have their unlimited premium plan, and then I also have Starlink. So I budgeted $240 and actuality spent $245.10. So I think that's still pretty close, and it's on budget because it is a fixed cost that won't change for a while, hopefully. But you know how those things go. Starlink keeps going up and up and up, but there's no other alternative. The next cost is gas, and gas is huge. Gas is like replacing my mortgage or your rent. And it's the cost of freedom. And originally I budgeted $450 a month for gas. And I think I budgeted way less than what I actually need because I love to travel. So in actuality, I spent $761.67. That's a big difference. And I was over budget by 69%. My highest month for gas was driving in September. And that's when I drove from Alaska to the Midwest, to the South, to the Northeast. And that was $1,374 for the month in gas. My lowest was November, where I only spent $201, and that was because I was house sitting for 3 weeks in Oregon, so I didn't drive very much. So it's very variable, and this is going to be different for everybody. I mean, if you want to travel fast and see a lot of things, yeah, you're going to spend a lot on gas. If you're more of a person that likes slow travel and you're going to stay in one place for a couple weeks at a time, it's going to be a lot less. My old camper got 10 to 11 miles per gallon. I bought a new camper in August. It's slightly better, 11 to 12, just because it's 700 pounds lighter and it's lower. It's not as top heavy. The next variable expense is propane, and it's not a huge expense. So I budgeted $12 a month for propane, and I ended up spending $5.70 a month. My heat is propane, so in the winter time I spend more money, so it's just getting into the winter now. So I was 53% under budget for propane. Next is campsites, and this is a big, huge variable expense. And I do not really like campsites. I prefer to be on BLM land, and I budgeted $200 a month on campsites. But I traveled to places that I needed to stay in a campsite. Like I was in Michigan near my son, and I had to stay in a casino RV park. I was in New York City. That was pretty expensive to stay there. So I actually spent $344.37. So I was 72% over budget. Wow. Now that I'm going back to the Southwest, I don't think I'm going to be paying for campsites as much. I used to have Thousand Trails, which I paid $1,200 a year, so $200 a month. I primarily got it because when my parents were alive, I would go back to Florida and stay in the campground that was like 15 minutes from their house. Some people love it. I didn't really like it that much. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite places to stay, so I did it out of necessity. But after my parents passed and I didn't have to stay in Florida anymore, I canceled it. Food, which is just groceries, I budgeted $400 a month. I try to not buy a lot of processed foods and buy all natural, one ingredient food like fruits and vegetables, beans, tofu, stuff like that. That is cheaper, more nutritious, but you have to actually cook it. My actual monthly average was $328.36. So that really surprised me. But you'll see why in the next category. So I was 18% under budget there. I love the green, love the green. So the next category, eating out. And I budgeted $150 a month eating out. And in actuality, I spent 171.52. 14% over budget. When I'm by myself, I don't eat out a lot. I prefer to cook. But during this 6-month time, I was traveling with people. I spent a lot more than what I would normally spend if I was traveling by myself. Repairs, maintenance, and vehicle tags. And I budgeted $150 a month for that. And in actuality, I spent $297.60. So I was 98% over budget. But I can explain why. Seems like I'm doing a lot of explaining. I bought a new camper, so I had a lot of expenses with the old camper because my window fell out, and I had to get the overhead cabinet rebuilt because I had problems with that from the first year I owned that camper. So in August, when I was getting my camper ready to sell, I spent $1,521.68 getting the window fixed and repairing that cabinet. I'm gonna have to put these guys in my friend's house because they're a distraction. Okay, I'm back from bringing the dogs inside, and look what that little stinker Lilo did with my favorite hat. Anything that's fuzzy like this, they tear it apart. My little, dead cat little fuzzy things for my microphone, somehow they always get a hold of them and just tear the living daylights out of it. Oh, guess I don't have a fuzzy thing on my hat anymore. All right. The next category, health and beauty. I budgeted $80 a month. This is like all my supplements, my lotions for my face, makeup. I actually spent $74.96. So I am 6% under budget. Hey, love the green. Love the green. Entertainment. I did splurge on entertainment. I budgeted $90 a month. Oh, and I actually spent $76.73. So I was 15% under budget. Yay. That really surprises me because I went on a flight seeing tour. When I was in Alaska, we also did this wildlife cruise, and I went to museums when I was in New York. So that surprises me that I was under budget. The next is subscriptions. It's something that has a tendency to get out of hand. I did do away with all of my streaming services. So I budgeted $90 a month and actually $56.05. And I was 38% under budget. And that is because I deleted a lot of subscriptions. I'm a sucker for, I want to watch this movie and it's on Stars and they're giving it to me free for 7 days, and then like 3 months later, what is this charge? Dogs. Now this is a big one. Dogs cost money and I have 2. And there's vet bills. Their food is very expensive. I buy them good food. They go to Mexico to get their teeth cleaned. So I budgeted $80 a month for dogs, and I paid $78.39 a month, which means I was 2% under budget. That's great. Laundry. I do not have a washer and dryer in my camper, so I budgeted $20 a month for laundromats. So laundry, that's my heat, was actually $14.71 a month. So that was 26% under budget. The only reason why it was so low was because I did visit people where they offered for me to use their washing machine, and I took them up on it. So ordinarily, if I was just out traveling on my own, that expense would be larger camper items. Now this is anything I need for the camper. It probably could also include dumping fees, tools, or anything I need. And I budgeted $75 a month, and I spent $155.27 a month. And the reason why I spent so much was because I bought a new camper, and when you're living in a vehicle, things shift and things move around. So if you don't have things carefully placed in there with some kind of organization system, things are just going to go all over the place. So I invested in a lot of organizational things. I'm 107% over budget with camper items. So the next is clothes, and this category, it made me laugh. I'll show you why. So I budgeted $50 a month for clothes, and I spent $13.82 a month. I do not like to buy clothes. When I was in a house, I did Stitch Fix a lot, where you just give them your measurements and what your personal taste is, and they just send you 5 items and they all fit. And then I didn't have to go to a store and try stuff on. But since I've been on the road, I haven't used Stitch Fix. The only thing I bought the last 6 months was a sweatshirt that I bought at a produce place. These barefoot shoes that I actually love. Gifts. I budgeted $50 a month, and I ended up spending $58.39, and I was 17% over budget. So maybe I need to bump that up to like $60 a month, because when it's a family member's birthday or my granddaughter, I have to buy something for them. Tolls and parking. Now in some areas of the country, you don't pay any tolls, but I traveled to the Northeast and there's a crap load of tolls. So I budgeted $20 a month for tolls and parking, and I actually spent $34.17, which was 14% over budget. I was on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which I swear is probably the most expensive toll road in the United States. If anybody lives in Pennsylvania, can you explain to me why it is so expensive? Full disclosure, there are a couple of items that I did not put in this budget, and one of them is because I chose to put it in my business expenses, and the other one is a topic that kept me awake at night for many years. A lot of fear around it. So the first one is online courses. I had to get really real with myself here, because I have a tendency to buy online courses and not finish them. So in the past 6 months, I spent $1,957 on 5 online courses. And I was really only active in 3 of them, because the 3 are live workshops, where you have to show up and do homework and have a community. I actually show up. If it's just something that's like an online class that I do at my own time and it's just always there, I have lifetime access, maybe I'll start it, but I'm not as active in those courses. And the second one is a big one, and it was the scariest part of leaving my nursing career, and that is healthcare. And healthcare is very different for everybody. You might have Medicare and it's coming out of your Social Security, or you might have healthcare from a job. I'm currently shopping for another health cost sharing plan. I've had this cost sharing plan for years and never used it. And as I've gotten older, the price has gone up. When I first started using it, the price was around $200, and now it's up to $440. Cost sharing plans don't cover preventative stuff. So for routine labs, diagnostics and dental. I'll go to Mexico for that, and the out-of-pocket cost is like a fraction of what you would pay in the US. It's so much more affordable. I get great care. So here's exactly what I'm looking at right now when I'm shopping around for these health cost sharing plans. Now, this is not all health cost sharing plans. These are just the ones that I thought fit me. So right now I'm 61, and the IUA, which is the initial unshareable amount, so it gives you your monthly cost, and then it gives you your initial unshareable amount. So this is the cost that you're agreeing to pay before they cover 100% of whatever your incident is. Usually it goes by incidents, like health incidents, like if you're in an accident or you broke your foot, like it covers everything for that incident after you pay your IUA. And I would usually choose a high IUA. So if you see on here, the IUAs are pretty high, 6,000, 5,000, 10,000. You can see Sedera, that's the one I had. It was $440 a month when I went over 60, and it's 5,000 IUA. I don't have any health conditions. There's not anything I routinely go to a doctor for, and I don't have any prescriptions. So the moment of truth, this is the moment I've been avoiding for 2.5 years. So my original budget was $2,384 a month. That was what I budgeted, and I actually spent $2,825 a month on average, with September being my highest month, where I spent $4,407. So over the 6 months, it was a total of $16,947. That seems like a lot, doesn't it? Yes, I went over my budget. I need to adjust the budget. But I have to kind of keep this in perspective, because even though I went over, my costs are dramatically lower than they were when I was in a sticks and bricks home. I don't have a loan on the truck or the camper, so that lowers expenses. And all this stuff is, varies from person to person. I know people that live on the road that pay a lot less to live on the road and live a lot more frugally than I do. And other people that pay a lot more that might still have a loan on their van or on their camper. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you think that was very expensive to live on the road? When you compare them to what you're paying for your living expenses, is it a lot more? Is it a lot less? But I'm feeling a lot lighter right now, just because it's not as bad as what I was fearing. So this is a wake-up call to me. I need to get more focused on my business and generating more income, and working on releasing a lot of the fears that prevent me from doing that. Thank you so much for coming along, you guys. Leave in the comments any questions you might have. If you like this kind of video and want to see an update in the future, let me know that. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'm sending you love, and I'll see you on the next one.